In this enlightening conversation, Anant Bhai speaks with Bapuji Dashrathbhai Patel, a divine luminary and spiritual master. Together, they explore the mystery of time and the four yugas, Satyug, Treta, Dwapar, and Kali. From the age of divine truth to the age of illusion, they reveal how soul power rises and falls through the cosmic cycle. Listen as Bapuji explains how the golden age returns, and the journey of transformation begins again.
Param Shanti, supreme peace be with you all. We extend our warmest welcome to Bapuji. Today we seek to understand the true meaning of Kala, the degree or quality of celestial power. Many of our followers ask, what exactly is meant by Kala? Since you often explain that Kala represents power, please help us understand this concept both from an earthly perspective and from the viewpoint of the celestial systems, or Brahmins.
Let me explain. Kala refers to the measure of power that resides within a soul. Think of it as spiritual capacity. There are souls with 1 kala of power, others with 2 kala, 5 kala, or 10 kala. For instance, we often speak of Krishna as a 16 kala soul, Sola Kala Sampurna, meaning complete in all 16 divine degrees. However, it's important to understand that Rama and Krishna were actually avatars of infinitely higher degrees. They were direct incarnations of the Supreme Authority, far beyond the 16 kala measure. When a soul possesses greater power, it naturally embodies corresponding divine qualities and sanskaras, spiritual impressions. The higher the soul's power, the greater its capacity for creation and manifestation. To illustrate this hierarchy, in our universe, as I have explained before, the Supreme Creator is known as Param Mahashiv. Below this level, we have Mahashiv, who creates galaxies, and above them is Param Mahashiv. We have frequently discussed this divine hierarchy of Shiv, Mahashiv, and Param Mahashiv. The soul of Param Mahashiv transcends ordinary classification. It is a 16 kala supreme soul, or Paramatma. Its power quality measures 16 celestial degrees. But as we ascend higher into the great universe, we encounter souls of 20 kala power. Beyond that, in even greater universes, we find souls of 25 kala, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 kala, and beyond. In our vast multiverse, souls can possess up to 100 kala of power. Our entire multiverse is composed of souls possessing 100 kala power. During its creation, as I've detailed in my discourse on creation of the multiverse, souls of varying degrees came into existence. I've explained how souls were created with different power levels: 100 kala, 90 kala, 80 kala, 70 kala, 60 kala, 40 kala, and so forth. This 16 kala universe emerged when the multiverse descended to the 16 kala level. When the Creator's soul power manifested at 16 kala, it brought forth the 16 kala universe. Further descent to 9 kala led to the creation of Mahashivs with 9 kala power, who then created subsequent realms. Let me offer a simple example to clarify this concept. Even highly evolved spiritual practitioners, the Behad souls, sometimes struggle to fully grasp the meaning of Kala. Kala represents the qualitative measure of a soul's inner power. Just as we measure an engine's capability in horsepower or evaluate an electric light's strength by its wattage capacity, we might say, this light bulb is rated for so many amperes, or that one has this specific power output. Similarly, we are discussing Param light, the supreme divine light. This is distinct from both Param Akash, the supreme ethereal element, and Param Mahatattva, the supreme great element. We are discussing the Param light, the supreme divine light, through which Param Mahashiv created the vast Mahabrahmans, including all galaxies and our magnificent Milky Way. Through a single divine thought, he manifested countless Anant Shivs, innumerable blissful incorporeal beings from his own formless essence. Now consider this. When the Creator himself possessed 9 kala of power, naturally those created by him would hold slightly less power. They would manifest with 8 kala, 7 kala, or 6 kala of power, following a descending order of divine energy. This means that many of these divine Shivs possessed 8 kala of celestial power, representing a tremendous spiritual force in the cosmos. Through this single divine thought, infinite power divided into countless fragments. Each fragment became an individual Shiv in incorporeal form, the Shiv Nirakars. Among these incorporeal beings, some possessed 8 kala of power, others 7 or 6, each varying in their divine capacity and spiritual magnitude. Just as we observe different sizes of stars in the cosmos, we find varying levels of power among these Shivs. Some possess great power, while others hold lesser degrees, some with 2 kala or even just 1 kala of power. This creates a divine hierarchy of spiritual energy throughout creation. During Krishna's incarnation, when he called upon Brahma, these differences in power were clearly visible. Some Brahmas manifested with 1 head, others with 2, and some even with 10 heads. These variations represented their authority over different solar systems and Brahmans. The greater their power, the more celestial systems they governed.
Bapuji, could you explain what level of Kala power the human beings on Earth possess?
The souls on Earth have originated from various celestial realms. Some descended from galaxies, others from universes, and some even from great universes beyond.
And what happens to their Kala power during this descent?
These souls, depending on their origin, initially carried significant power. Those from galaxies might have possessed 8 to 10 kala of power. However, through their descent through various realms, passing through Mahashivs, then Vishnu, then Brahma, their power gradually diminished with each transition.
What about those souls specifically born on Earth?
Within the cosmic hierarchy, we see Shivs with varying degrees of power, from 8 kala down to 1 kala. Through Brahma's creative process, this power continued to decrease. As the incorporeal Shiv took subtle form and created Vishnu, and from Vishnu's navel emerged Brahma, each successive stage retained only a fraction of the original divine power. The transition from incorporeal to corporeal form always results in a reduction of power. Even though the incorporeal Nirakar Shiv intended to create a Brahman through divine thought, the manifested form receives only a portion of that original creative energy.
When the Supreme Being transformed from incorporeal Nirakari to having form Akari, one might think there should be no loss of power in this transformation, right?
However, this process is more complex than it appears. The creative process works through divine thought, Sankalp, where the form manifests according to the power within that thought. However, the manifested form only receives a fraction of the original power. For instance, if a being originally possessed 4 kala of power, only a portion of that power would manifest in the created form, and from that, an even smaller fraction would emerge in subsequent creations. In this process of manifestation, the original power's qualities appear as a blend of different attributes. This occurs because beyond the incorporeal, Nirakar, realm exists the realm of form, Akari. Within the incorporeal realm, Shiv exists as Param light, supreme light, while above that light exists Mahatattva, the supreme great element, which is Shakti. Thus, even in the formless realm, Shiv and Shakti coexist as light and might. In the incorporeal state, Shiv manifests as the Param light, while Shakti exists as the Param Mahatattva, supreme great element. The entire creation emerged from this incorporeal realm. The question then arises, how did Shiv transition from this state into the subtle form Akari? The process can be understood this way. When Shiv assumed a form, a subtle soul essence manifested within that form. At the beginning of creation, Shiv light merges with Shakti might to create a subtle body. This initial form might contain 30% Param light and 70% Param Mahatattva. When Shakti emerges from Shiv, this ratio shifts further, perhaps to 20% Param light and 80% Mahatattva. This means that Shakti's essence was predominantly composed of Mahatattva, the great element, accounting for 80% of her being. Through the union of Shiv and Shakti, Vishnu came into being. Within Vishnu's composition, only a small portion of the original Param light, supreme light, remained. The majority of Vishnu's essence consisted of Mahatattva and Paramakash Tattva, the supreme ether element. The Paramakash Tattva itself emerges from the harmonious blending of 3 fundamental subtle elements. Following this pattern, Brahma was brought into existence. Within Brahma's being, only a minute fraction of the original Param light remained, while the proportion of Mahatattva, great element, became more dominant. Additionally, Param Akash, the ether element, became an integral part of Brahma's composition. This process of creation continued to unfold further and further. At each stage of creation, only a portion of the Creator's power was transmitted to their creation, resulting in a gradual diminishment of the original power. In the continuing process, Param Akash, the Supreme Ether, emerges from Param Mahatattva. Subsequently, from Param Akash develops Param Vayu, the Supreme Air element. Following this, within Param Vayu, Param Agni, the Supreme Fire element, comes into manifestation. This descending pattern of creation results in a progressive decrease in the spiritual quality of souls with each successive level of manifestation. The earliest souls created by Brahma possessed a small but pure quantity of Param-like quality. Despite being just a fraction of the original, this light remained pure and potent, which is why we refer to these early souls as Farishtas, angelic beings of light. However, with each subsequent generation, this quality gradually diminished. As creation continued through multiple cycles, each new generation of souls manifested at increasingly lower levels of spiritual power. This process led to a continuous transformation and decline in the spiritual quality among all souls throughout creation. The Supreme Light now remains in only a select few souls. Those souls that still retain even a fraction of this divine light are known as Param Purush, the Supreme Beings. In our celestial system, Shiv holds the highest position as the Adi Param Purush, the original Supreme Being who oversees this entire Brahmand. Similarly, Mahashiv possesses extraordinary divine power, while Mahashiv carries even greater power of 9, 10, or 11 kala. Within a universe, souls can possess up to 16 kala of power. Beyond this lie the great universes and the vast multiverses, where the eternal dance of creation and dissolution continues without end. Every celestial system undergoes cycles of dissolution. These dissolutions happen in various scales, from Ard Pralay, partial dissolution, to the great Mahapralay. I've often spoken about the cosmic time cycles known as yugas, starting with Sat Yug, the golden age of perfect truth and purity, followed by Treta Yug, where virtue begins to decline, then Dwapar Yug, marking further spiritual descent, and finally Kali Yug, our current age of spiritual darkness and material attachment. Mahashiv, also known as Mahakal, the Supreme Time Being, has the power to absorb countless Brahmins into his infinite being, holding them in perfect, blissful silence. Modern science has come to acknowledge what our ancient wisdom has always known, that eventually the universe will contract and dissolve back into its source. However, these cosmic time spans are so vast that they transcend human understanding. As I have previously explained in detail, each galaxy operates on its own vast time cycle.
Bapuji, could you share any additional insights about the concept of Kala?
We've covered the basic meaning of Kala as power, and you've provided detailed explanations about its various levels and manifestations. We've explored the immense power present in Mahashiv, Param Mahashiv, and the higher Param realms. What's crucial to understand is that every human being has the potential to increase their soul power, their Kala. Let me give you an example of how a soul can elevate its Kala. Consider a soul that originally descended from Mahashiv, carrying 9 kala of power. When such a soul takes human birth on earth, its original power becomes dormant.
Yes.
Now, when such a soul realizes its need for power, it's because it has become tamopradhan, covered by spiritual darkness and impurity. Originally in the galaxy, this soul existed in its pure sattvopradhan state. But through its descent to earth, it first became rajopradhan, dominated by activity and passion, and then tamopradhan, overcome by inertia and darkness. Now, the only path forward is through spiritual knowledge. Through divine knowledge, or Gyan, one must cultivate remembrance of the almighty authority who resides in Paramdham, the supreme infinite realm. This is the infinite Kala realm where the Supreme Being dwells in eternal glory. That soul wishes and understands, I need power. It means the soul now needs power because it has become tamo-pradhan, dark and impure. The incorporeal Supreme Being, who possesses infinite divine power, radiates pure spiritual energy like the cosmic sun radiates light and heat. To increase your soul power, you must remember this Supreme Being constantly. Practice being a karma yogi, one who maintains divine connection while performing worldly duties. As you go about your daily activities, keep your awareness on the Supreme Being, relating to Him as your ultimate ancestor, your great-great-grandfather. When you cultivate this deep spiritual relationship, profound divine love naturally awakens within you. This is a fundamental spiritual principle. The more you develop this pure love, the more divine power flows into your soul. By maintaining constant remembrance of the Supreme Being as your great-great-grandfather and seeing yourself as His direct descendant, you can draw unlimited power from this connection. The deeper you go into this relationship with the Supreme Father, the more spiritual power you receive. As this divine power increases, your soul's capacity expands. Through this process, the dormant divine qualities and spiritual memories stored within your soul gradually begin to awaken and emerge. However, remember that this awakening has natural limits. It can only extend to the spiritual realm from which your soul originally descended. Even when a soul reaches complete awakening and the crown chakra fully opens, there are inherent limitations to what it can perceive and understand. A soul that originated from a galaxy can only comprehend up to that galactic realm, even in its highest state of enlightenment. Similarly, if a soul came from a universe, its awareness will be limited to that universal sphere. No one should claim that through crown chakra awakening, they will perceive the ultimate infinite realm. This is simply not possible given the soul's inherent limitations. Only the Supreme Being Himself has the capacity to fully know and describe the infinite divine realm. This knowledge is beyond the reach of all other souls.
Thank you, Bapuji, for this profound wisdom. I encourage all our viewers to explore our Unspoken Truth with Bapuji playlist, which contains over 120 videos of deep spiritual knowledge. Please start with those teachings first. For personal guidance, you'll find helpline numbers in the video description. We're deeply grateful to Bapuji for sharing these divine insights. May supreme peace be with you all.